Hey guys, so I thought I would do a quick review for a film that came out before I started doing videos on YouTube, and to be honest, even I myself admit that this review is rather overdue. So I thought, seeing that I watched it again recently and quite a few people have been asking for it, I thought I would finally get around to reviewing Avengers Age of Ultron for you guys. Just to let you know, there will be spoilers ahead. You have been warned. Now, I saw Avengers Age of Ultron twice in the cinema and again recently on Blu-ray, and every time I've seen it, my opinions have changed. Now, I'm going to say right off the bat that this film isn't perfect. There are quite a few problems with it, and it isn't as good as the first one. Nothing beats seeing all the characters together for the first time like you did in the first film. And I suppose with the second film, that novelty wears off and it isn't as exciting. I mean, it is still pretty thrilling to watch them all back together again and fighting with one another, but it's just not the same, and that's one of the flaws of this film. They all have good banter between one another, and the fight scenes are really well handled, but there's just something about it as if they're trying to push and force more of the team aspect this time, especially in the dialogue scenes, and especially that scene during the party. It just seems as if they're trying to push things that aren't supposed to be interesting and make them interesting. And for some bits it does work, but there are some aspects, like Black Widow and Hulk's relationship, that I think does feel a bit forced. Even though I liked it the first time, watching it again, it does feel like it's put in there solely for the purpose of the film and nothing else. Like I said, the action is great and the special effects are quite good. There are a few times when they do lack in quality, but it is still very enjoyable, and to be honest, those little moments are only blink and you'll miss them moments. There are many jokes in this film, probably as many as the first. They're all hilarious, and each of the cast are great as well. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man. There's no denying that. I mean, Chris Evans is great. Jeremy Renner is also very good. I like the way that they try to humanise Hawkeye a bit more and make him feel like less of a guy on the side. And I actually don't mind Hawkeye. I must be one of the very few people that actually likes that character. I mean, I don't love him, but I like him. David Spader as Ultron is just perfect. I mean, compared to all the villains we've had so far in the Marvel Universe, it's definitely one of the strongest. But even though this film is fun, the cast are good, and the humour is good, there are quite a few problems. And the first being that there are way too many characters. I mean, it would have been fine with just the addition of Ultron and Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. But then they go and add Vision, and they decide to bring Nick Fury back halfway through. It just... some characters do... all the characters are great. All the actors are great in their jobs. It's just... well, Ultron feels a bit rushed. His evolution feels rushed. He gets from A to B very quickly with no explanation, and it is a little bit annoying. Kind of the same for Vision, even though there is a bit of explanation. But his entrance does feel not forced, just a bit rushed. And then you got Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, which are good for the scenes where they're together, but the recurring jokes that they have with the other members of the Avengers don't work as well as the dramatic scenes that are just with them. I mean, they are good additions, but I am actually kind of glad that they killed Quicksilver off, even though he is one of my favourite characters in Marvel, and X-Men Days of Future Past did do it better. I was sad to see him go the first time I saw the film, but after watching it a few times, I think it was for the best. Because one, it wasn't as stronger a Quicksilver as the X-Men's version, Also, just knocking one character off might actually even things out. I mean, they could have knocked a few off, but I wouldn't want to be the one to choose. Another problem that this film has is that there are way too many side plots that are just left unanswered. Apparently the end cut for this film was about 3 hours, and Joss Whedon himself wasn't overly pleased with the end product. And I mean, cutting 3 hours down to 2 hours is bad enough, and you can painstakingly see where some of the side plots have just started to go and then they got cut off halfway. One that annoys me the most is the one involving Thor and him having to travel back to Asgard. It's not really clear that he does travel back to Asgard. It's all set up for Thor Ragnarok, and to be honest, it just happens and then cuts halfway. I mean, he has a little hissy fit in the pond with the lightning and stuff, but then nothing happens. They could have explored these side plots so much if Disney and Marvel would have given them enough time and enough planning to put it into effect. Because one thing, after watching it several times and watching several reviews of it, I do agree with people by saying that this film is technically set up for Phase 3. Which is all well and good, some film has to do it at some point. But just trying to cram so much setup into one film does make it feel very cluttered and can actually strain the viewer's thinking pattern. Because the first one, it was simple, there was a couple of little twists thrown here and there, nothing too complicated. This one, even though it shouldn't be complicated, there are just so many side plots, characters, and setup for future films put in there that it kind of hurts your head. Not gonna lie, it does hurt your brain. Even though there are way too many undeveloped side plots, way too many characters, and just way too much setup for future films, this is still a pretty enjoyable film. It's nowhere near as good as the first, but it's a film that is not Iron Man 2. I can happily watch this on my own or with some friends, just on a big screen. I can happily watch it again and again. However, just the problems do weigh the film down quite a bit. I mean, I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. My original score on the Media Critic was a 9.5, but that was after seeing it for the first time. And every time I've seen it since, the grade has gone down and down to the point where I think 8.5 is just the right score. Anyway guys, that was my very overdue review for Avengers Age of Ultron. I hope you guys have enjoyed. I will have my Return of the Jedi review up very soon. And yeah, remember to like, comment and subscribe. Like my Media Critic Facebook page, and that's about it guys. Bye.